T-minus 10.
All aboard!
You know what a job is? That when people get up in the morning and they go to work.
This is Scope of Success, where we bring you business life lessons and throw a lifeline to your career. And now, Brian and James.
Welcome back to Big Apple Scrum Day 2018. Having a good time, learning a lot.
Yep, just had lunch, so I'm a little sleepy. What do they call that?
Yeah.
The food coma?
Food coma.
A little sleepy.
Yep.
A little sleepy.
Yeah, so we just had a lot of people coming and going.
Yeah.
Yep. Getting
I
back
think
into the sessions.
just for anybody at home keeping track, the union complaint is making its way up the whatever that is
the chain
through the union hall.
Right.
But they also said that at some point later today they might be able to help us move the table.
Right. I think they have to find Jimmy Hoffa.
They might need him
move,
to sign off on the
head of the
table
union.
moving.
Yeah. Right. So once they find him, I think we're in the clear to move some things around.
So we got a couple more guests here.
Yeah, I would say the event
Speakers.
I would say the event has been so far. The word I would use to describe it is very woke.
The event is woke.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's woke, and the people at the event are woke.
Right. For people who've been following.
They're getting woken.
Right. For people, we're rewarding the people who've been following the whole series of our podcast.
Yes.
That's our new word for cool.
It's not our word. We didn't come up with it. But
right.
actually, the folks on my team in my office at WeWork introduced me to that. So shout out to them.
Okay. Just so you know, I did coin
and
the
it's
phrase.
not. It's not my team. I mean, I'm a member of the team. I don't
Right,
mean to say that
right.
It's my team. Our team.
I am credited for coining the phrase "excuse me."
That's a good one.
So.
That's good. That's also very popular with the Florida Orange Growing Association. That at that conference.
I should get some royalties on that, right?
I think you should get a lot of royalties, and I think people should feel free to always come by and squeeze you.
Right.
Just as
well, that could be going too far.
I'm going to squeeze you right now.
Right. Okay. I'm going to go to the sponsor. Well, we don't.
Oh,
squeeze.
yeah. All right. Yeah, they're not squeezing anybody. We're squeezing for them.
Yes, absolutely.
And is this the Florida Orange Growers Association?
No. We got to talk to them.
Next week's convention.
Yeah. Well, we'll try to
get
them. We're going to try to get them on board.
Okay.
But we are sponsored by PMI's New York and Long Island chapter of Project Management Institute. PMI New York and Long Island, the local chapter, is a Project Management Institute, a global organization of industry leaders and project management professionals. When you join PMI's global organization, you could also join PMI's New York and/or Long Island chapter to get involved with your local project management business communities. To learn more, visit PMINYC.org in New York City or PMILIC.org on Long Island. You could join both.
You should join both.
Where's Westchester in New Jersey? Where are they in
Where
this?
are they? Well, Westchester is north of us. New Jersey, I think, is west.
Right. But they could be sponsors as well.
They could be sponsors, and they should be sponsors.
Right.
Especially
They're great organizations.
We have
as
a
well.
lot of friends in those chapters.
Absolutely.
In fact, we'll be seeing them next weekend after the Orange Growers convention. We're going to Cincinnati
for
the
they
Region
call
4
it the
limb.
Regional 4. Yes,
Yeah.
right. So that's going to be exciting. We'll be recording live from there, which is pretty cool.
How about our guests? Bring them in.
We got two guests today. We got a bonus.
Speakers here at Big Apple Scrum Day.
Right. So we got Hunter and Julie. Welcome to the show. If you guys could talk right into the mic, because these are, it doesn't pick up the outside noise, so you got to be right on top.
You were both speaking this morning. Julie, you want to start by telling us a little bit
They're
about
not speaking now, James.
what you were
which makes me nervous.
Well, no, it's good. It's
right.
good that she's not speaking while I'm speaking, which is terrific. But, Julie, tell us a little bit about what you were speaking about this morning here at Big Apple Scrum Day.
Yeah, sure. So Hunter and I were excited to be up here in New York today.
You're up from where?
Up from the Washington, D.C. area.
Oh, okay.
So, yep, we worked
DMV, as we call it, right?
Yes,
Right.
we work for Excella, an IT firm in the DMV. But it was an easy train ride up for us yesterday.
Did you guys take the Excella?
I did.
Right?
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
That's that right?
Wait. Now you work for them? You work for Acela? No. Oh, I'm confused.
So the Acela train is the kind of the express train straight up the East Coast. Excella, EXCELLA is where we work. But
do you get free tickets on the Acela?
I mean, maybe we could work out a partnership. But either way, it got us here, nice and easy.
Okay.
And
it's actually a great train, right? Question: were you on the quiet car?
So I wasn't. Quiet car is always my preference, but I did have to take one work call. So I didn't want to be that person. So I was not in the
pretty
quiet
strict
car.
with their enforcement of that quiet car, right?
Yeah.
Brian, were you with me? We were on the Acela. I think were we on there together going down? I don't know, but I was on the quiet car, and I think my colleague took a call on her phone, and it was a big problem.
Yeah.
And her point was, well, they just called me, but I understand
that ad would happen to everybody. So
yeah, everybody.
I agree. The rule has to be.
It needs to be applied.
Yes, right.
Yes, because without our ethics and standards and courtesies. Well, we don't have to tell you guys about that. You're from Washington, D.C.
Right. The cornerstone of ethics is
or lack thereof.
Right.
But anyway, Julie, you were going to tell us what you were speaking on this morning.
Yeah, so we were here to speak about WIP limiting, so work in progress limits, a topic near and dear to us. We have found that, teams in their efforts to get a lot done take on a lot all at once, and it is somewhat counterintuitive, but leads to actually getting it all done at a slower pace than if we focused on doing a smaller amount of work at one time.
Okay.
It can actually churn out more overall. So Hunter led us through a great interactive activity, which I think was a good boost of energy in the morning to try to not just tell people that, but help them experience it and believe it for themselves.
That's great. So, Hunter, what was that all about?
So we were on teams making paper airplanes, competing to make as many as we could as fast as possible. So in the first round, we were just, everyone's trying to make as many folds as they can, put as many paper airplanes as they can out to the next group. The second round, we said, okay, now focus on you as a group working together to make as many paper airplanes as you can. And do that by focusing on just doing as what's necessary for the next person.
So I think we might actually have a little equipment problem. Maybe you and Julie can share that microphone.
No, I think it's good. Yeah,
is it okay?
Yeah,
okay, so I
okay.
wasn't getting that through the feedback. Okay, great. So you guys were making paper airplanes.
Making paper airplanes.
But like, is everybody making their own style of airplane or what? Like, how does that work?
So we kind of formed an assembly line. Each person does one fold in kind of a standardized way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the idea is that if I'm, just concentrating on folding as many paper airplanes as I can and passing them off with no regard for how the rest of the team is doing, then you get, inventory piling up in between stations. It becomes harder to concentrate. There's a lot more stress, a lot more errors, and a lot more waste in the end.
Okay.
Whereas if you focus on only making what's necessary to keep the system moving, you get a really good flow of work through that team of people making airplanes. And in the end, you end up making them faster and usually more.
So I'm a little confused. So the first concept you described to me sounds like an assembly line where you're just making a fold, passing it to the person next to you. That's what you don't want? But what you do want is the team getting together to make everything? Like, what am I missing?
So the way we had it structured, it's kind of an assembly line either way. What you don't want is the people focusing on only their own station. You don't want, if I'm the person who's making the first fold, to just be folding and dumping it in a big pile next to me. If the person behind me can't keep up with the rate at which I'm folding. So by focusing on only folding what's necessary for that person when he's ready for it, you're able to get a better product out in the end and a much smoother flow of the planes through the system.
So instead of
hard to explain without experiencing it.
Yeah, instead of trying to optimize kind of utilization by the individual station, you want to smooth out flow across the whole assembly line.
Okay.
And so kind of like on a software team, there's no point in a developer just coding away if there's no capacity left on the team to test it. Work is piling up, but it can't actually be tested, which means it can't be deployed to production, so no one's getting any value from that developer's code.
So what do I tell my super fast coder then? I'm not going to tell him to slow down or tell her to slow down. What do I do? Do I just have to hire more QA people then?
So what we say is to kind of set a limit, a WIP limit we call it, for how much work the developer can do at a time before the tester picks it up. And if he hits that limit, he can't pick up any new work. So in a certain way, you do have to tell them just, slow down a little bit.
Wow.
That doesn't mean that you want them to just sit on their hands and watch Netflix while they wait for the QA person to catch up. When that happens and they hit that limit, it really should be seen as an opportunity to say, what's wrong with this picture and how can I help? How can I help the QA person do their work better? How can I help optimize the entire system so that we don't have these stoppages all the time?
Is this called, do you have a name for this?
It's just called WIP limits. WIP as in work in process.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
WIP limits.
Yeah.
Did you? Is this new? I'm not familiar with.
I remember a song about Whip It Good,
WIP it. Yeah,
but that
Freaking-
goes.
was that Men Without Hats?
I think it was Men Without Hats. I'm sure it was.
That was Devo.
No.
Yeah.
Devo.
Yeah,
Devo.
yeah,
Oh,
We have
okay.
some
Not to
big,
correct the hosts here, but
some
Okay.
fans of that song. We know that's not.
yeah.
Of course, you must hear that all the time.
One of the rejected titles for our talk.
Yeah. Whip It Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. yeah.
Well, actually, I think it kind of goes. It's catchy. But yeah, work in process, work in progress.
Yeah.
And limiting that makes perfect sense to me as somebody that works as a part of a team. We're all taking on, everything. The answer is always yes. Of course we can do that.
Yes.
So that's actually something we've heard from other guests on the show is that one of the hardest things to learn how to do as a project manager is to say no, like that's not possible. Is that part of what you're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's saying no for the greater good. We may actually be able to get more done if we say, no, I'm not going to work on this all at once. It doesn't mean that I'll never get to your work. So there's actually a bonus exercise we're going to be giving people that's a lot about multitasking. And what that shows us is if we try to work on 3 things at once, because we are trying to let everyone know, don't worry, I've started your work and I've also started yours. And so I'm jumping back and forth between all of them. It will take me longer to get all 3 of them done than if I simply say, hey, I'm going to start on this one. I'm not starting yours yet. I'll start on it as soon as I'm finished. I finish this one, then I do yours, then I do the 3rd one, but just one at a time. You will, more often than not, in the game we play, get all 3 done before it would have taken you the time to get one done if you're trying to split your focus.
That's great.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's not about saying no, never. It's saying no, not yet.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about the company that you work for. It must be a very progressive company because they allow you to, it's a train company, right? And still you're allowed to use airplanes, but it's the transportation thing, I guess. So tell us a little bit about the train company you work for.
Sure. Yeah. It is not a train company.
Oh, okay.
We're an IT consulting firm. We're
It's
based-
training.
Yeah.
Training.
We do some
Okay.
training,
IT
yeah.
consulting
Training.
and high-speed transportation,
So we
high-speed rail transit.
We do a lot of work. We do some training. We do a lot of software development, agile coaching, agile transformation, that sort of thing. We cover a lot of ground in terms of the capabilities of the people in the firm. So we try to staff projects that address a lot of things at once. So Julie and I were both working on a project recently where we had developers, we had analysts, we had myself kind of as a scrum master, Julie as a coach, out there trying to do an agile transformation while also helping them do the actual software development work. In kind of an integrated approach from all angles.
And how does somebody find the Excella? It's Excella with an E, right?
Yes,
EXCELLA.
EXCELLA.
And how does somebody find your company if they're interested in hiring some fine, young, intelligent, and extremely well-spoken consultants such as yourselves?
Well, you can find us at excella.com.
Okay.
That's our website, at Excellico on Twitter. I don't know
Also
if you're
Facebook page and on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Oh,
normal
great! Yeah, and
places.
we'll throw that up on our show page.
And
Yeah,
it's-
Right,
and
for
if
the
anyone
listeners.
does make it down to the DC area, there are some great meetups that we host right in our headquarters.
Oh, that's great.
In Courthouse, Arlington. So
What's the name of your meetup group?
It's called DC SUG, so DC Scrum User Group.
Oh, wow.
yeah.
That's
So yeah,
terrific.
we've had great speakers over the course of years. Jeff Sutherland, Lisa Adkins. So we've really got a good turnout and a lot of participation from the community.
That's
Oh,
pretty cool.
yeah.
Meetup is a terrific software company.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
That's
it's such a great way to bring people together.
Great company.
Isn't that-
Great company to work for.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, Meetup is awesome. Do we have any other questions?
I think, were you going to do a read for the Agile Camp sponsor?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you
right.
guys been to Agile Camp?
I have not. No.
I have been to Agile Camp Dallas.
Oh, well,
Oh,
very.
okay.
Last year,
That's terrific.
Yeah.
So we were at Agile Camp
In
Newark,
Right.
which was right here. It's close to us, closer than Dallas at least.
Right.
And,
Next to Manhattan.
it was terrific.
Yeah.
And they're going to be back, so maybe we'll see you there.
Right. So we were asked back to Agile Camp. It is September 24th. Agile Camp is a regionally based one-day conference where you hear from 3 keynote talks. You have the opportunity to choose 20 Agile leadership workshops. You'll find engaging topics including leadership, Agile, strategy, innovation, culture, and technical practices, and a whole lot more.
If you're in the DC metro area, you can take the Acela,
Excella.
and you
and,
can get to Newark.
Right. There's a
And
Newark train
maybe
station.
you'll
very
see
convenient.
Julian Hunter there from Excella.
Right, absolutely.
That's
We
right.
were there
Perfect.
last year where we saw great guests as and speakers. Greta Wilson, she was on our show.
Greta.
Richard Sheridan with the author of Joy Inc., which is amazing. Ken Rubin, Jeff Sutherland.
And who are they going to have this year? I think U2 is playing. And
they're gonna be
also
announcing-
Philip Roth is going to be the keynote speaker.
I don't know if they got U2 booked yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I
But-
think they're
but probably
they're
somebody
in
like
t- it's-
Coldplay, maybe.
They're in talks.
I don't even know. These young folks across from us probably they're like, well, we don't want to hear that dad rock. What do you guys listen to?
Yeah, what do you guys listen to?
What would get you to Agile Camp? What band would get you there?
Right.
So my number one is Portugal the Man. I've been following them for a while.
Okay.
Great. Yeah.
What about you, Julie?
Yeah, I actually listened to a lot of the older stuff. I think Bruce Springsteen was my first concert.
Springsteen,
so,
okay.
Yeah, you know.
We
I
saw
think
Bruce
he's on
Springsteen last
Broadway,
night.
right?
Yeah, he's on Broadway.
We saw him there.
So maybe they could pull him over.
Yeah. Brian and I saw Bruce last night. We were walking by the building that he was in, but that kind of counts.
People
as-
were waiting for
right?
him to come out.
Yeah.
It was close.
Yeah.
What, Hunter, what was your first concert you went to?
I think it was Echo and the Bunnymen.
Oh,
So
wow,
they're
okay.
older, yeah. So they're kind of older.
Out of
yeah.
Manchester. Right out of Manchester, England, right?
Yeah.
That's right,
Got that
yeah.
right?
Okay.
All right, yeah.
And what about you, Julie?
It was Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen?
Ah, the
Nice.
boss.
Yeah.
Where'd you see him?
In Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. Are
That's
you from
great.
there?
I am. I grew up there. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
that's a great first concert.
hey,
is-
Springsteen in
the boss.
Milwaukee, right? I mean, that's the heartland, right? Even though he's really from, around
They-
here,
Yes.
but
they don't call him the boss for nothing.
he's the boss of the whole land,
Right. Yeah.
not just the heartland.
All right.
You guys have been terrific.
You guys have been great. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Limit the
Absolutely.
whip. Limit
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
whip.
Limit the
Crack
whip.
the whip and limit the whip.
Right. Thank you very much. We are still going on.
We're still
at,
going on until they
Big
throw us
Apple.
out,
Right.
until that union complaint gets adjudicated.
Keep
We'll-
listening.
We'll be here.
Thank you. Keep listening.
Scope of Success is brought to you by PMI Long Island, the Project Management Institute of Long Island. For more information, visit pmilic.org.